In the ancient biblical world, it was believed that there were only 72 nations. In the gospel today, Luke is saying that in choosing the 72, that Jesus just wasn't sending his disciples out to Israel, but to the whole world. So as we heard, he sends them out 2 by 2, just like Timothy and Titus with Paul, and even like the Mormons and the Jehovah's Witnesses who knock at our doors. Speaking of which, one humorist says that one day he was leaving late for work where there was a knock at his front door. And it was wet and it was cold outside. So he opened the door, and standing there were 2 Jehovah's Witnesses, damp and shivering in the cold. So they asked if they could come inside. Well, he wasn't going to let them stand out there and shiver in the cold. So he brought them into the living room and asked them to be seated in a chair. Well, they sat there for a long time. And finally the man said to them, "So what now?" And the older one said, "We don't know. We never got this far before." Anyway, as you heard, the disciples came back jubilant at their success, but they were caught up short when Jesus told them not to be happy that the spirits were subject to them, but rather because their names were written in heaven. That is to say, they should rejoice that they made a difference to someone beyond themselves. They were part of something larger. And that, in the most profound sense, is the Christian formula for success. Make a moral difference. Be a part of something bigger. It's a simple teaching, and yet it is as far as you can get from the world's notion of success, which is having for oneself a good fortune, position, consuming a lot, being a celebrity, an army of one. Forget the band of brothers. I remember a college girl telling me that, unlike her sister who went a few years ago, she definitely was not going with a group on their parish-sponsored Jesuit volunteer program to work in a poor country. Well, why, I asked. And she said, because my sister Jane, she went to Honduras and she came back different. She was totally different. It destroyed her life. When she came back, she wasn't the same person. She changed the course of her life and disappointed a lot of people. Well, that was the best reason that I ever heard of actually going. Jane, she dropped out of the me alone generation and wanted to do something with her life, and so she became a part of something larger. Yet her life really should be the normal part of any Christian. It should not be a cause for concern. Anyway, to test your spirituality, ask yourself the question, how passionate am I to make a difference in the world today with my life? A moral difference. Has my life at this stage transcended itself and become a part of something bigger than my life? And do I have a sense of mission, of someone who's being called and sent? The gospel raises these very questions, and so, as usual, it turns out to be more subversive than we think. Rejoice because your names will be written in heaven.